Okay, I'm going to do another shop update. I know it hasn't been quite a week since I posted the last one, but there's some stuff that I didn't get into the last one. Basically, this rack system for the drops. I didn't get it in there. I want to get this same posted so that I can free up some computer hard drive space to store other videos. But anyways, we've got that. I'm gonna have a conversation about the trailer. I got some parts for the haul truck, and I'm gonna briefly discuss them. The parts are gonna be information on the parts are gonna be in a haul truck video that will probably be coming out shortly. I've got some hauls to make, but basically I just want to get these files out and get it posted up to YouTube. So here we go, shop update. So as part of a little shop update, I've got this shelf over here, and I don't even know where this shelf came from, tell you the truth, but I keep all my car care products on it. To begin with, it's kind of disorganized, and the shelf is really flimsy. So what I did is when I was at Value looking for some rattle cans of paint, I saw these shelving units that they had as plastic. It has a wider stance on it. And it's a lot more stable, so I bought that. Also, there's 5 tiers to it too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this, but the shelving units are bigger. So what I'm going to do is take all of that stuff off, get rid of that, and put it onto this thing. So I'll bring you back. I'm not going to show it to you. I'll just bring you back. Okay, so there's that shelf. Now, it'll probably be modified as far as where things are, but there it is, and it's so much sturdier than that old thing was. I've got it top heavy, that's why you see that happening, but trust me, a lot sturdier than that old thing was. I'll bring you back. Okay, just a little note on the shop update. I woke up this morning to about 4 inches of snow on the truck. It was 23 degrees and it had snowed last night. I had taken my snow brush and scraper out of the truck and left it in the shop, so I had to go in the house, get a broom and a spatula and clean the windows and stuff off in order for me to see to drive. But yeah. It's been sitting in here for like an hour or so, so most of it's melted off. But just the annoying little weather thing. We really had a real mild winter. Can't complain about that. But you know, you start thinking about spring, summertime, and old Mother Nature comes around and puts a damper in those thoughts. We'll survive. Okay, I'm out behind the shop, and here's a trailer. And if you guys watched the last shop update, I told you about the issue with the trailer and the bouncing when you get on those concrete roads with the expansion joints. Well, I'm still talking to Diamond C about this issue, but I've got the trailer back here because I wanted to take a look at it, and there's a light that I have to replace, so I brought it back here. But it's cold outside, it's been snowing. Let me take you inside and we'll talk about it. Okay, let's talk about the trailer. As I said when I showed you the trailer outside behind the shop, I'm still talking to Diamond C about this issue. They're kind of consulting with some of their engineers and trying to figure out what is going on. What I did is when one of my emails to them, I kind of made some suggestions on possible solutions to the issue, my thoughts on it. There was three of them actually, and I'm not sure that any one in particular could eliminate the problem, but my thought was maybe if you welded gussets to the torque tube and expanded those gussets out to the I-beams of the trailer, it would take some of that, it would have a dampening effect on how much of that harmonic bouncing is being transmitted forward on the torque tube, so that it would kind of disperse that dampening, so it lessened it as the farther it got forward. That was one suggestion. My other suggestion was possibility of putting airbags onto the trailer, onto the axles of the trailer, if that would help with the issue. And the third suggestion was shock absorbers. If you put shock absorbers on the axles, would that help with the situation? So in response to that, this guy Keith from Diamond C, the one that I've been kind of communicating with after my original conversation that I had had with him with a guy by the name of Steve from Diamond C, he kind of transferred me over to Keith. Now, I don't know what Keith's capacity is in Diamond C, if he's in sales, if he's in engineering, what he does, but I've been communicating with him and emailed him those three suggestions. Again, I don't want anything out of this from Diamond C. If they're willing, if they have a solution to fixing this problem, and they're willing to provide me with the parts to fix that, if there are parts involved in it, if it has something to do with the torque tube, adding gussets to it, or extending it, or shortening it, or whatever, and they're willing to provide parts, I'm willing to accept those parts and get it fixed. Now, whether they want it to have it fixed by one of their authorized dealers is another issue, but I'm not really sure. I told them that I could do fabricating and put that out there, and I also put out there that I'm not looking for anything out of this. When I say looking for anything out of this, I'm not looking for a kind of a refund or anything like that. All I want to do is resolve that problem. So Keith's response to my email was, well, if you put airbags on the axles, it more than likely will have a dampening effect on that. It won't be as bad. And he also said it will be a better ride for the load. I'm not really concerned about putting airbags on it to have a better ride on for the trailer for the loads. The stuff that I haul is equipment, machinery, and stuff like that. It's not a fragile type of equipment that I haul, so I'm not really concerned about putting airbags on the axles to lessen impact of road vibrations or road conditions on the equipment that I haul. I'm more concerned about getting that problem out of the trailer so that it lessens the impact into my truck. Not that I think it would impact my truck, but it's annoying. That harmonic bouncing is very annoying once you're on a when you're driving down a road where it is continuously, you have those expansion joints and it starts that harmonic bouncing, it becomes extremely annoying. And at nighttime, it's not only annoying for me, but at nighttime, my truck is equipped with halogen lights, and anybody that knows halogen lights knows that there's a focal point to them, or a narrow width beam, and if you hit that beam directly looking into it, it looks bright. It looks like somebody's high beams are on. Well, when my truck is bouncing, that beam is bouncing up and down, and oncoming traffic, there's a lot of times where it looks like I'm flicking my high beams on or off, or it's annoying, visually annoying to people that are coming at you. So not only annoying to me, the main person in this being annoyed, but it also annoys some drivers coming at you too. So that being said, I put the trailer out back because I wanted to look at it. I've looked at it a couple of times. I've got to fix a light on it. One of those lights that I added on burned out, or there's a problem with the connection because salt got into it, but that will be another issue. So I got underneath it, and what I'm going to do is throw a pick and pick over here of the axles and the relationship to the frame members, the relationship to the tires and stuff like that. So what I was looking at is thinking about putting airbags on it. Again, now this is just preliminary thoughts because I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I don't know what Diamond C is going to do yet. So, but I do have 2 airbags that I originally had bought for the haul truck, which is behind me. And that can't be used on the haul truck because when I bought these, I had bought them for the front suspension because I want to put air bags on the front suspension, but I really didn't know anything about airbags when I bought these things, and I thought the size that was given for airbags in the definition was the overall dimension of the airbag, and I'm going to pull you up one here. These are one of the ones that I had bought for the front suspension on it. So I've got 2 of these things that are not going to be used on the haul truck. So what, to continue that thought about the size of them, I thought the size of them when they were listed is the overall diameter of the rubber. It's not, it's just the plates. So when I thought it was an 8-inch airbag, this thing is like over 12 inches, but the plate is only 8 inches. So, yeah, my bad. I'm going to put this little insert into this clip where I'm discussing the issue with the trailer bouncing, that harmonic effect bouncing. I'm just showing you this airbag because one of the viewers on my first shop update video when I discussed this said messaged me and told me that I think it was his brother-in-law had a trailer, had the kind of same issue. Now, he doesn't think it was a Diamond C, but he doesn't know what brand it was specifically. But he said that he had an issue with that trailer bouncing like that also, and that he put airbags on it and it eliminated it as far as he knew. So, again, apparently this issue is prevalent among other manufacturers. I'm not sure of that specifically because, again, he didn't know what manufacturer the trailer was. So, but he did say that his brother-in-law installed airbags and it eliminated that problem. So we'll see what Diamond C says. But anyways, back to the original video clip here. Live and learn. But anyways, So I put the trailer back there to kind of see if I could utilize two of these. I'd probably have to get two more for the other axle onto the frame spacing, and I probably would be able to do it. Now, I don't think that I could get these bags on top of the axle shackles and below the I-beam for the frame, but I could probably work something out where they come inboard a little bit of the spring shackles. If I said axle shackles before, I meant the spring shackles. Come inboard of it and put a cross member in between the I-beams above it to support the upper side of it. But anyways, airbags is one of the possible solutions, but again, I'm going to be waiting for Diamond C to get back to me and tell me what their plans. I'm over here to the bench. This is located over the part of the shop beside the haul truck. And I use that bench for engine parts and stuff like that. It's kind of where I rebuilt the transmission for the 1066. And now I have most of the engine components over here for the 8.3 in the haul truck. There's still some stuff left over there. That's the old TA out of the 1066. I kind of pulled it apart to figure out how they worked, and it's still sitting there. So what I'm going to do is clean up that part of the bench and try and get everything organized over here. So I got those components for the rebuild. I'm actually, it's kind of a more of a in-frame rebuild kit for the Cummins, but what I'm going to do is pull the engine out and do an out-of-frame rebuild on the thing. There's a bunch of stuff that I want to do to it. I want to clean that engine up and stuff like that. But so what I'm going to do is I told in a haul truck video, I said that I would do an unboxing on that stuff, and what I plan on doing is cleaning up that part of the bench and the stuff in front of the bench so that I can get back there, lay everything out, do the unboxing of the parts for it. So, but as part of a shop update, I just wanted to let you know that I was going to be cleaning this all out and getting it organized. So here is that shop bench that I was talking about cleaning up and getting prepared to put the stuff that I got for the A3 Cummins on here to do an unboxing video for it. But what I'm going to do is do that under the haul truck videos. So, but anyways, here's that. We'll continue on with the rest of the shop update. Yeah, I'm just showing you that bin rack that I'm building for the drops and cutoffs. What I've done is welded some angle iron, and now I used old scrap angle iron. I'll show you some pieces of it afterwards, but what it was is it was a pipe rack. You can still see remnants of things that were welded in on the bottom of it. I didn't cut them off. They're not going to hurt anything. So what I did is just put angle iron there, put some expanded metal around the sides so taller stuff doesn't fall off, or when you start piling it up, it doesn't fall off. Same way with the back, it doesn't get pushed out or fall off that back either. So I'm going to do the same thing down on that tier. The bottom one, I probably don't need to put angle iron on. I'll just put expanded metal across it between the supports to keep it from coming out. Now, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do here yet. Originally, I was thinking about using expanded metal as the let's call it the floor of the shelf or the bottom of the shelf. But there could be a lot of weight put into this thing, so I'm actually thinking about getting some plywood and putting pieces of plywood in there, or plywood. I was going to say particle board, but I wouldn't use particle board. What I'll have to do probably is run something across the front of it just to give it some support so it doesn't sag in the center. It can be anything. It could be a piece of flat stock. It could be a piece of bar. Just something for the plywood to set onto, so again, it doesn't sag or droop in the center because it's not supported there. But I'll bring you back as I go along. Okay, so here is that drop rack. I just finished a little while ago doing the bottom tier of it. I'm not sure if I had made a video since I had put the casters on it, but so here it is. What I've got to do is I want to put some kind of an angle iron strip across the front of it on the 3 shelves so that I can so that the plywood stays in there and won't come out, and also possibly the bottom, well, I don't know as much for the material, more so for the plywood. I guess what I could do is just put the plywood in there and put some kind of a I'm not sure what I want to do yet. Let me give it some more thought. I wanted to do it so that the plywood wouldn't come out as you pull stuff out of it. If it's heavy stuff and you drag it out, just so that the ply wouldn't slide out of the thing. But now that I've actually thought about it, maybe I'll just do something else. Put a little strip of banding metal across the front of it to keep it from coming out. The reason why I'm saying that is because I don't have the angle that I was thinking about using. I don't have it in hand. It's at the middle of that kind of that virus thing, and the steel company that I use to get it for is being well, they're just cautious on the people that they allow in there. Don't allow anybody in their shop. What they want people to do is pre-order stuff. They'll drop it off out front, and then when people come, they can they've either had it prepaid for, or give them a card through the door, and they run the card and do it that way. But it's just kind of awkward, and it's just kind of awkward. So here that is, and I will get the plywood for it, and maybe I'll use some banding. Let me go over and see what I've got for some banding. What I could do is just slide the plywood in and put like a single strip of banding across the front of it. Yeah, let me go see what I've got. So something like that, but I don't even have enough of that. What I would do is just tack it on the front of it like so, but I really don't even have enough of that to do it. My thought about using the angle iron is that it could help hold the plywood in front too, to keep it from, if I put something heavy up there, to keep it from bowing down. But let me bring you back and I'll think some more about it, what I've got, what I might want to use. So what I've done here is taken a couple of pieces of scrap angle iron that I had laying around and put it on the first two tiers. Now, what I think I'm going to do on the bottom is just put a small piece of angle iron in the middle to hold it, because I kind of want to be able to hold the plywood in there from coming out when you drag out pieces. I think I'm going to use the bottom rack for pieces of like plate steel or sheet metal, stuff like that, drops of that, and they're probably going to be standing up. So you'd probably want to be able to slide it more so than be able to pick it up and take it out, for two reasons: because it's plate steel or sheet metal, and because it's on the lower rack. So I'm going to weld these two in, put that in, probably go out and get a sheet of plywood that I can put in there. I'm going to paint this thing at some point in time, but I'm not sure when. Okay, there's the remnants of where I cut the plywood. I just pulled the plywood off the back of the truck, put it on sawhorses, and cut it up. And here's the shelves inside of the rack. Yeah. I'll bring you back as I'm loading it, or after I've loaded it. Probably not going to load it all at once because it's just, there's stuff all over the shop. But as we clean up areas, pick up things, we can utilize this to put those drops on. I'm out in front of the shop, and that's a 100 kW generator, 5.9. It's got to go down to South Carolina. I just picked it up this morning, but I unloaded it because I've got to pick up a load of rebar and take it over to that ice cream plant they're building the expansion on, or remodeling, before I can leave to go to South Carolina. But anyways, there's that generator. Okay, I'm gonna do a little finishing clip here. I just showed you that generator that I've got to take down to South Carolina. I've been really kind of busy, even though this virus thing is going on. It seems like everybody needs stuff hauled, whether that is just for the fact that they're selling a lot of stuff at this point in time, or they're having trouble finding other people to haul it. But I've got that trip to South Carolina. I just want to tell you about a trip. I had to go down and pick up 2 generators and a generator trailer. Now, one of the generators that I picked up was stationary. One of the generators was a trailer generator with a generator on it. The other one was just the trailer or fuel tank with no generator on it. I had to pick it up at an auction place in Pennsylvania. Not a big deal. I get down there, and these people basically deal in cars, and they have these huge loaders with long forks on them, like 20-foot forks on these loaders, and they load them onto car carriers. What they do is a guy brings a car carrier into the lot and jackknifes it, and they front load the cars into the front of the car carrier, and then go around the back and get the rear cars in that way. Quite an operation. I never saw anything like that before in my life. But anyways, I go down to pick these things up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and put a pick and pick over there. I went down to pick these things up. I go in, I get all the paperwork from the auction place. The girl says to me, just go back out, and one of the guys will come back out and direct you to the end of the lot and where those generators are. And he did that. I go back out. The guy directed me in one of these loader type forklift things, huge things, big cat loader forklifts, and takes me back to where the generators are, and then he turns around and leaves. And I'm sitting there waiting for this guy to come back to load him onto my trailer, and some guy that worked for this auction company was painting bollards there. And he comes up to me and he says, you do know that they're not going to load them for you, don't you? And I says, what? No, nobody told me that. He says, no, we can't load heavy equipment. And I says, well, it's not heavy equipment. These generators weigh less than the cars do that you're putting on there. They don't really, but, well, one of them didn't, but the other two did. And he says, well, we can't do anything about it. So I called the guy that I'm hauling them for, the buyer, and he says, they never told me that. There's nothing in there. So he says, well, what can you do? And I says, I don't know. They're adamant about not loading these things. They can't do it. And he says, well, why don't you just leave and I'll send you a check for what you were going to get. And I says, well, let me go into the office, or let me see if they have anybody, they ran into this before and have anybody that can do it. So they put me in contact with a tow truck company. A guy comes over and he says, he had a little rollback, and he says, I can't do it. He says, I could probably get the two portable, the trailers generators up there, but I can't do that stationary generator. And he says, we have a boom truck. So he says, let me try and get a hold of my boss. And he couldn't get a hold of him. And he says, I don't know what to tell you. Here's our telephone number. But anyways, I go back to the office and I said to these women, what, I had talked to the guy again, and he says, I want to try and get my money back, but I can't get a hold of him. And I go back into the office and I says, listen, guy's trying to get a hold of you. And she says, yeah, I know he is. I was on the phone, but I'm trying to call him back, but he didn't answer. I says, what he's looking for is his money back, because nowhere did it say that you don't load stuff here. And she says, we load cars, but we can't load those generators because they're considered equipment, and we can't, because liability reasons, we can't load equipment. And I says, oh, okay. Do you have anybody that can load these things for me? And she says, yeah, let me give you a number. And she gave me a number, and it was very similar to the guy, the tow truck operator, that has said he can't do it. I called that number, got a hold of a woman. She says, let me get a hold of my husband. And she says there shouldn't be a problem with it. She called me back in 10 minutes and he says, yep, he can do it. He's going to bring over a boom lift, and it's going to be X amount of dollars to do it. So I called the buyer up, and he says, yeah, go ahead and do it. Either if you don't want to pay him, just have him call me and I'll give him a credit card number. But anyways, it just turned out to be a fiasco. I got there at 8 o'clock in the morning, was planning on being out of there by 9. And here it was, by the time that I got out, these guys had a hell of a time loading these things on with that boom lift. It really wasn't a boom lift like a big rotator type of tow truck. It was just a small, like, Chevy truck, like a 6500 or something like that, with a little boom on it. And they had a hell of a time loading these things. By the time that I got out of there, it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it just turns out to be fiasco sometimes. But anyways, I'll bring you back. I've got that thing to do in South Carolina. I'm going down there on a Saturday and doing it. Then when I come back on Monday, I have to go to the other side of Rochester, New York, and pick up a tank and a pump and take take that to St. Louis on Tuesday, so I'm kind of busy. But I'll bring you back next shop update. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment.